am Dr. Jyotika Pruthi and my roots lie in the domain of computer science. But then I wanted to make computer science something interesting for the students and as well as for the youth. So that is how I got myself into design thinking, and which is basically for everyone. It is not restricted to any of the domains, and especially for startups, it is one of the amazing tools to have it with you. So to begin the session, let me just share my screen. All right. So many of us, and in fact all of us, whether we are entrepreneurs or whether we want to be entrepreneurs, we are in a habit of writing and receiving ample amount of emails each and every day. Now imagine that this afternoon you have received this one very important email from your customer who says, "Dear startups, don't skip design thinking." So this is going to be the subject for around next 45 hours or maybe 1 hour. And we'll be basically exploring the different aspects of the design thinking. Now this slide basically shows two types of reactions. And most of us have come across these two types of reactions, maybe one of them. So the first reaction comes out when you present a design to your investor. Maybe you have tried to present the design to your investor, and your investor says that something is missing in this design, but I don't know what. So you basically become the aggressive version of the reason. And the second reaction arises when you present two designs to maybe your boss or the leader with whom you are working, and he asks you for the third design. And now if you provide him with the third design, he will be choosing any one of the first two designs. And that's another reaction that comes naturally. We literally want to bump our head, because when we provided him the first two designs, he rejected it. He asked for the third design. And finally, he is accepting one of those first two designs itself. So, well, if you ever have faced any of these two situations, or maybe you might not have faced any of these two situations, but you are likely to. So design thinking is something that kicks into the picture at this point of time. Now, why design thinking? Why we are discussing about design thinking? Why do we really need it? So the fact is that, 8 out of 10 entrepreneurs who start businesses, they fail within the first 18 months. And you would not imagine this accounts for a whopping 80%. Now, the number one reason why startups fail, which accounts for 42% of failures, is because there is no market need for the product or service that has been developed. To me, it definitely looks like a $1 billion idea. For me, it was really an impressive idea. But unfortunately, it is not solving a core problem for which people would pay me. So that is where design thinking actually kicks in. So now we just start understanding that what is design thinking and how do we really use it for our own startups and maybe in our organization or maybe in any other domain in which you are working. So as I mentioned, that many startups are likely to fail within the first 18 months. So I told you that design thinking is the process that actually kicks into the picture. So what is design thinking? So this is basically a process that is all about finding the problem worth solving. Let me tell you, the concept is not new at all, and I am ready to put my neck on the line for saying it. So there is one very important term that is associated with design thinking, and we call it as empathy. So it's interesting when we really, started to pursue design thinking few years back. One of the biggest challenge that was faced was like people always tend to think of design as being about aesthetic qualities, maybe colors or pixels or font, etc. Definitely the aesthetic appearance of products is important, but you need to realize that design thinking is something more than that. So design is all about simplicity and delighting customers and other users. It's basically about an absolute focus on the user, and then you constantly innovate. It's very important to consider for whom you are actually designing the product. It's very important that you value your customer. So design thinking basically says, hey, listen, turn it around, start with your customers. Get to know them first. What do they need? From where do they come? What are they interested in or what are they worried about? So if you are capable of meeting those needs, then I think your product would be a great product. So what I mean to say is that considering the user through the lens of empathy, is crucial. Start with defining who your users are. When you are designing products or solutions for someone else, the biggest challenge is to understand the people you are designing for. Speculate the pain points of their daily lives, their behaviors, their desires, their needs, because usually we take our users for granted. We just don't tend to assume that, what do they really need? And we just tend to assume how they experience the world. That's the reason most of the startups are failing these days. As a startup, narrow down your potential users to one benchhead market that you can service and win quickly. For example, if you are in a food sector, you need to realize who your customer is. So you may now maybe trying to ask to yourself or maybe to me that how do we understand the user? It's very difficult to understand the needs of the user. So the key to get an understanding of users' mental models and how the world looks from their perspective is try to think and imagine and talk to them and that how do they feel, how do they behave every day, especially in environment and situations that relate to your product or service. How and most important is if they are feeling in a particular manner, then why do they feel and behave in a way they do? Once you understand and deepen your understanding by walking in their shoes, literally, if you can just put yourself in their shoes. Try to wear the shoes of your customers and then try to refine your speculations. Where are you moving? Where are you moving? In which direction are you moving? This is one of the very important aspects. And even if you look in this picture, your user is saying, hey, I am the user. Solve my problem, not yours. At times, we feel that this situation in the community is problematic, but other people might not feel so. So we need to understand the market first. It's very important. So this is all about empathy. So empathy basically, just to summarize this thing, empathy basically allows you to understand that, it actually helps you to gain those insights of the customer. And best way to gain empathy is by engaging directly with the people. Talk to them, conduct interviews, try to feel what they feel. And once you will not, if you will not talk to them, of course, you will never get to know what do they feel. So that is why this particular corner of my slide shows that what are the different ways to empathize with the people around, with the user, with the customer. I'm not saying sympathize. I'm saying empathize. And empathize means that you try to understand and you try to wear the shoes of your customers. Conduct co-design sessions, conduct user research, conduct interviews, and then prepare a mind map to realize that what do they want, and then start working on your product. I mean, working on a product comes at a very later stage, to be very honest. Moving further from here, I think you all must be having a very clear idea about what design thinking is. It has nothing to do with the aesthetics. No colors, fonts, nothing. Aesthetics are important, but here we are trying to understand our customer needs. That is the first step. I have not started talking about the development of the product yet. I'm still trying to research who my user is, where do they come from, what do they really want, and what is their problem. So from here, I take the session onwards, and this particular picture, what this picture is basically showing, it looks to be a little funny, but it has a deep meaning. So I asked this old man that what is that one thing you feel that can lead to road accidents? He said, whenever I'm driving, my wife talks too much. And then I get distracted because she talks too much. So for him, the reason of accident could be the other person sitting next to him being very talkative. So this was his problem. Now, when we understood his problem, we designed a seat belt in a way that his wife could not talk too much. So this was the problem of this old man, and that is how we solved it. So because he needed a product of this kind, that is why this product was a great product for him. This might not be a great product for you or for me, but it is a great product for him because it has been designed according to his needs. So that is what we need to understand, that a great product is the one that is designed with the customer, not only for the customer, but with the customer. You need to take customer into the confidence. It is very important step. Now, this is the innovation funnel. Now, what this innovation funnel is actually? So you start with the ideate phase. Now, what is this ideate phase? So ideate word comes from the word idea. So in ideation phase, you basically develop new ideas based on observations of the customers so that their needs can be addressed. Because till now you were talking to your customer, you were trying to understand his needs, and once you have understood the needs of your customer, it's time to develop those new ideas based on the observations of your customers. But always remember that don't depend on your customers for the big ideas. Your customer is not going to give you that big idea. It is you who is going to work on that idea. Your customer can only tell you his problems, his needs, his latent needs, his hidden needs. But you are the one who has to ideate, who has to develop the ideas. And then basically you make sense of your findings because you were talking to your customer, you were understanding his needs. So ideation says, hey, you have already understood the needs of your customer. It's time to make sense of your findings now. So once you ideate, once you generate those ideas, you come on to the define phase. And this is the phase in which you should literally fall in love with. You have to fall in love with the problem, not with the solution. So basically defining the problem is one of the most important phase, and sometimes it is expressed as falling in love with the problem, not the solution phase. So in my experience, selecting the right problem to solve and framing the problem in the right way is the most important part of the process, and also it is the least appreciated step, and it is the step that most of the people frequently skip it. So this is one of the very important phases that you need to take care of, because you are actually defining your problem. If problem is not defined properly, of course the solution cannot come out properly, and you will waste whole of the effort, and finally the startup will fail. So that is why this is one of the very important phase right after empathizing with your customer. And then finally we come on to the implementation phase, where you actually start the designing and development of your product. So testing assumptions of new ideas to continuously, shape them into viable opportunities is what you do during implementation, I believe. So implementation, this diagram is basically showing that, implementation comes at a very later stage. And most of the people start with the implementation and then they get into the market, which is the wrong approach. First, you have to get yourself into the market and then you have to develop the product. So this is the whole idea of this innovation funnel. All right. So moving forward from here, this is one of the very interesting slides. So always realize this thing, that the most important aspect of design thinking to understand is that it's not simply a process. It's not a process that is linear. I just cannot give you a magical formula here in this session in 1 hour, and I cannot even say that, hey, follow this 1 step, 2 step, 3 step, 4 step, and you would be having a great product. No, I cannot do that. I cannot say that, because design thinking is not a linear process. It's not a magical formula that you can just learn and apply and get results from. You have to remember that any process which is followed blindly, in fact, becomes a problem. So no design process is meant to be linear. It always has to be iterative. So it's not at all just about following steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and you are done. No, not at all. It will be actually more like 1, 3, 4, 2, 5, 1, 3, 4, and again and over until you get an innovative new product that matches the needs and expectations of real world users. So that is why this slide is basically blinking with think, do, think. You cannot define any order here in this slide. That first you are thinking and then you are doing and then you are doing, you are thinking. So it's always like 1, 3, 4, 3, 4, 2, 1. It's never like 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it's not a magical formula. So this is the brief idea about design thinking. I hope that you are getting clarity more on this concept. So now talking particularly in the language of startups again. So you must be thinking about, that how design thinking is actually helpful for startups, and why are we using it, or how can we use it? So this slide will cover most of those aspects. So we need to realize that, design thinking is something that has actually improved the startup's survival rate. If design thinking is done properly, that means you are delighting your customers, and if your customers are happy, why won't they use your product? Of course, the success rate of startup would go high. It has to go high. Design thinking is something that actually gives you this freedom. And this freedom is all about one can fail fast and know exactly what is going wrong with the product or service from a customer's perspective. Because you are in conversation with your customer for all the time, right from the beginning. In fact, when you didn't even start building your product, you were in conversation with the customer. So your product cannot fail. Even if your customer did not like the product, he would say it in the beginning itself, and you have a freedom to change your idea as well. So that is how design thinking gives you this freedom to fail fast. If you fail fast, you recover fast, and that is how you come up with a new idea, and that is how you can be successful. So lack of wherever, it has been noticed that in in wherever organizations we see that there is a lack of customer-centric approach, user research and product testing has not been done as per customer requirements, so startups never get successful in those domains. So we need to realize that validating startup ideas at the right time with the real users is very critical. It's very critical, and we tend to ignore this thing. So always keep in mind that if design thinking is done properly, it always gives a delight to your customers. Now there are some myths about design thinking which I would like to give clarity upon. Many people think that design thinking is only for, creating new products. So this remains one of the biggest design thinking myths. So design thinking can be applied for services, processes, strategies, maybe for scenario development and project road mapping sessions as well. And it can be used wherever there is a need to find innovative solutions. So this is a myth that it is only for creating new products. It's nothing like that. Another very common myth is that it is the job of a specific team and you typically call that team to be as design thinking team. No, it's again not like that. It's not a team. It's a culture. So it's the responsibility of the entire team. Maybe it's the product team or maybe it's the design team or maybe it's the development team. It's the responsibility of the entire team and we have to realize it. So I've seen at many places that, they have a single team and most of them have struggled because they are outside of a product team. So imagine somebody who is not at all related to the product and he is judging the product. So again, it creates a challenge. Then another myth says that design thinking, is little easy or, I have done it once, I took a course or had the basic training, so I'm all good to go, right? So again, there is a lot more soft skills needed to identify user needs, observations, you conduct interviews, you talk to your customer, you carry out the ideation phase, you carry out the prototyping phase, you do the testing. So they are all the phases of the design thinking. So it's not just about the course or a short training, it's just about practice. The more you will practice design thinking, the more you will understand its different aspects. Another important myth that it is only for designers and creative folks. Again, as I mentioned, that it has nothing to do with the aesthetic. Definitely, product has to have some aesthetic, but design thinking is not only for designers and creative folks. You don't have to be creative for practicing design thinking. This is a myth. Then some people feel that, design thinking requires an innovation lab or maybe some extra infrastructure. No, it's again nothing like that. Design thinking is a step-by-step process. As I told you, it's not a magical formula. We cannot just do it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and we are done. No, we cannot move like that because it's an iterative process and you follow the steps in an unordered manner because you never know which approach will fall in place when. So that is why it's not at all a process which is a step-by-step process. It's not a linear process. It's an iterative process. Okay, one important question. So how can a startup implement design thinking? I will reframe this question and I would rather quote it as how to build a team which thinks in the language of design thinking. So you have to realize that the language spoken in the company should be around the benefit of the customer. Keep a very close eye on the customer experience. There should be someone in the core team who becomes the voice of the consumer and put the foot down in favor of them to make things better. This is one of the very important aspects if you are a startup or if you are going to be a startup and you want to implement design thinking. You have to realize that it is as important as technology or operations. It is not at all limited to UI or visual design. No, not at all. Also, we need to realize that, design thinking is something that actually gives end consumer right to shape the final experience. And the experience will automatically resonate with the success of the startup because we are keeping our customers in loop all the time. And that is why the final experience would also be shaped up by the consumers. And the product has to be a successful product. Nobody could fail that product. One of the examples that I would like to quote here is that there are few websites. For example, if you talk about organization like Myntra, or if you talk about maybe Naukri.com, if you talk about Make My Trip, they follow a certain common model. For example, you go to Myntra, you buy some product, you will observe that they credit some amount into your wallet because they want you to be back on their website. Similarly, if you go to Make My Trip and you buy air tickets, you book air tickets the way we used to buy or book before this COVID situation, what do? Whenever you book a ticket, they again credit few extra points in your account. So those few extra credit amounts or points are basically to bring you back on their site. They want you to be back on their app or site or whatever. They want a repeat purchase from you. So this is one of the great example of implementing design thinking, how to build features to make repeat purchases happen. So this is one of the ways that you can be, able to grow your business and outplay the competition. Similarly, somebody may feel to ask this question that, is applying design thinking too expensive for a startup? So there is no binary answer, yes or no, because it depends upon the situation when you start applying design thinking. If you will plan it at a very later stage, definitely the budget would go high. But if you start implementing design thinking from day zero, I'm not even saying day one. If you start applying design thinking from day zero, it is not at all going to cost you anything. Yes, it will not give you direct ROI from day one, but in long term, it will make a difference because the possibility of failure would be too less if you apply design thinking right from the beginning. So at this point, since you have a clear idea about design thinking now and how startups can use it for their own ventures and for their own domains, at this point of time, I would like to quote few examples of the organizations who are really successful and who implemented design thinking to be successful. So we all have heard about this very famous venture which is known as Airbnb. Even if you see its logo, this logo has also been designed using design thinking approach. See how? The logo of Airbnb, which is this, is actually made up of symbols like these. So this symbol is representing people. This is a location symbol, which we usually see in our GPS, etc. This represents places. So this is a heart symbol, which shows love. And since Airbnb starts with A, so this is A. Now, if you see that this symbol, which is the final logo of this organization known as Airbnb, which is, by the way, a bread and breakfast startup that provides people with hotels and accommodation whenever they travel to places. So if you see that this particular logo is actually having the major portion of this component, which is people. So what Airbnb believes is that people is the most important aspect of any organization that decides its success or failure. If people are not happy with your product, you can never be successful. So how Airbnb uses design thinking in its other aspects. So, just to share a story, as I am a storyteller, so I enjoy sharing such stories. So Airbnb started as, yet another bread and breakfast startup, but it was on the verge to burst in 2009. So three founders, along with their first investor, they decided to do some brainstorming just to find out the problem, that why they were on the burst of, shutting off. So one of the reasons that was found was the lack of quality images on their listings on the website. All the images that were listed on their website were not of very great quality. So that was the major problem that they figured out. You would not believe those three co-founders. They packed their bags, they rented a camera, they visited places, and they replaced the poor quality images with beautiful high resolution images. And this just doubled their revenues within a week. And that is how it kickstarted the design thinking, back changes in working of Airbnb. They realized that, design thinking is something that works out. So it shifted their mentality that code is not the way out, but they need to go out, they need to meet customers, they need to come up with clever real world solutions. So Airbnb went ahead to, replicate the design thinking approach everywhere in the company. Airbnb employees, you would not believe this fact that Airbnb employees take a trip in their first or second week after joining. They capture customer struggles by venturing into their shoes and documenting their experience to share with other employees. So new employees are, in fact, they are asked to come up with the new features right on the first day of their hiring at the company. So this is one interesting example where design thinking has been implemented to a great extent, and it led to a successful organization, which was actually on the verge of shutting off. So we all have, heard of this very famous company, which is Toshiba. So what comes to your mind when I say Toshiba? Of course, laptops, televisions, air conditioners, projectors. So what if I say that Toshiba is actually somehow related to green leafy vegetables? Imagine. I was shocked at the first front when I heard this news. So you would not believe that Toshiba has gone on the concept of green thinking. Toshiba, which is one of the Japanese electronics manufacturer, it was actually struggling with their disused factories that were once actively churning out floppy disks. So when floppy disks lost their charm, the factories remained shut for a while. And after applying design thinking, Toshiba, you would not believe this, that Toshiba converted these factories into vegetable farms, growing lettuce, spinach, and other green leafy vegetables. And this is not some ordinary lettuce. It actually grows in climatic controlled rooms and on a special formulation of nutrients and fertilizers. No bugs, no pesticides, no dust, no microbes. The vegetables from Toshiba are clean and they are healthy to consume. And Toshiba is not alone. Sharp, we all have heard of this name, Sharp. So Sharp is growing Japanese strawberries. Panasonic is also busy in making Popoy's favorite spinach, in abundant factories. So imagine that these factories who had nothing to do because floppy disks were not churned out and all these factories were disused. So they utilized those spaces and then they applied design thinking to enter into the concept of green thinking, and that is how they started growing vegetables and whatnot. So this is another great example who implemented design thinking. Then two very famous names we all have heard, Uber Eats. So when Uber Eats started its business of delivering food to the consumers, apart from having the cab services, Uber Eats also allowed its employees to go to the places before when they were about to launch their product in a particular city. For example, before launching in the city of Hyderabad, they told their employees to go to Hyderabad, stay there, understand the food habits of the people there in Hyderabad. And that is how they launched their product there, because they knew that, okay, at 12 p.m., people of Hyderabad really love biryani. Or maybe, in Delhi, people at 1 p.m., because that's the lunch time, they really like to have chola bhaturas for their lunch. So to understand the user is very important. So Uber Eats again used the concept of design thinking because it actually entered into a domain before understanding the user. Also, there are different physical conditions of the cities, and that is how different food habits are there in different cities, and that is how it becomes important to understand the customer first and then to launch the product. Another amazing example, we all know this lady, Indra Nooyi. So again, go one. I would just like to quote one interesting fact what Nooyi said. So she said, I gave my direct, reports an empty photo album. So she basically called all her employees and she gave them those empty photo albums and a camera. And then she asked them to take picture of anything they thought represented good design. After 6 weeks, only a few people returned the albums, imagine. Some had their wives take pictures, many did nothing at all. So they didn't know what design was. Every time she tried to talk about design within the company, people would refer to packaging. Should we go to a different blue color? It was like putting, lipstick on a pig and as opposed to redesigning the pig itself. So she realized that it's time to hire a good designer into the company who would really understand what a design is. So she says that design has a voice in nearly every important decision that the company makes. Could you even ever imagine that a company like PepsiCo thinking about something like design? So imagine the depth that the design thinking has actually entered into. Another very important and a very interesting story, I should say, that Nooyi usually shares is, she says that as CEO, I visit a market every week to see what we look like on the shelf. So she says, I always ask myself, not as a CEO, but as a mom, what products really speak to me? The shelves just seem more and more cluttered. So I thought that we had to rethink our innovation process and, design experiences for our consumers from conception to what's there on the shelf. She didn't feel that the bottles of a Pepsi were looking good on the shelf. So she thought of a new design, but people would always quote new design as to have a different blue color of the beverage. So that was the time she realized that, it's time to hire a designer who has to be a great design thinker. So when, PepsiCo's first chief design officer, whose name was Mauro Porcino, he was hired. Then he was hired to spread design thinking throughout the company. He found that many of these new projects were stalled, were paused, because the initial idea was not at all perfect. Although there might be a great potential in it. This is what he realized when he was hired. So imagine such big firms have utilized the power of design thinking, then why not you? All right. So another important question, that what metrics should a founder consider if he is embarking on the journey of design thinking? So this is the step that you need to take care of. You never have to do it. Build first, find customers later. This is one of the biggest mistakes that we all do. This is something that can be adapted. fail fast, fail cheap. Of course, because if you'll fast at a very beginning, it will not cost you too much. So that is why design thinking should be implemented right from the beginning. And you have to integrate different perspectives of different people who are going to be your customers. Now, very important terms to understand here. One is apt market research. When I say that you have to do the market research very aptly, it does not mean that you have to talk to your friends and relatives at parties and family gatherings, because they will always be motivating you and they would always be saying yes to whatever you mention. That's not a market research. If you are not facing constructive criticism from at least 25 to 30% of the initial 100 people, then you are not doing something right. Or you may not be able to communicate it in a better manner. You have to realize this. So to do the market research in an apt manner is really, really important. Then there are two terms. One is product market fit, and then there is a term market product fit. So you have to realize that only if the product is needed in the market, then only it will sell and it will make its own place and it will start selling itself. And that is why it is important to understand the customers first. You can't make a product first and then create market for it by spending so much amount of money on marketing and customer acquisition. This is something that leads to failure. So these two terms are basically being explained in these 2 points. This point is correct because it says that only if the product is needed in the market, then only it will start selling itself. Don't build the product first. Don't build the product first. This is one of the biggest mistakes that we do. So, any useful tips for startups? Definitely, I would love to give few handy tips for startups. It's important to translate your content into more local languages for organic growth first. Secondly, do lots and lots of A/B testing. Thirdly, it's important to understand that lack of customer-centric approach can kill your business fast. Then you have to understand that design thinking is basically the stage 0 of your product development life cycle. Of course, you have to be curious, keep exploring, and you should have a thrive to improve. If your customer is disliking something, you have to accept it and you have to work on it again. So treat customers like assets, not like transactions. And definitely that design thinking is not a magic wand. You have to understand that. It's not a magic wand, and design for users, not for the geeks. Design has to be simple. It has to delight your customer. Don't make it that complex that it is only understandable to the geeks. We don't want something like that in the market. And you need to realize that, the most important outcome of the successful implementation of design thinking processes, more happy customers. One big step forward to become a design thinker is to improve your listening power and take the criticism in product positively and with a big smile. So because that's the beauty of design thinking, is that it works under best conditions of uncertainty, when you really don't know where to start from. So it's a methodology that is very messy in practice, but does allow for a systematic approach to create new opportunities. So, because in my opinion, I think every entrepreneur is a designer. You have an idea, you are a designer. And during this pandemic situation, I would love to mention that, crisis open new doors. Who knew that we would have a design something like this? So we see people wearing face shields these days. So this is one of the wonderful products, and the crisis has actually led to this product. Similarly, if you see that many organizations have got this sanitizing tunnel installed, once a person moves into this tunnel, he gets sanitized through a 360-degree spray. So this is another product that has come up during this crisis. So that is how crisis is creating opportunities. Disruptions lead to opportunities. So to all the startups, to all the people, to all the young entrepreneurs who are listening to me here, open up your idea wallet first. Think of any startup idea from any domain. Always remember that no idea is a bad idea. Yes, but it's important that you take critical feedback from your users and then you finalize the idea. You need to understand that what is the objective. Why do you want to be an entrepreneur? Why do you want to have your own startup? Does it sound lucrative to you? Or do you think that it will make you rich really fast? Or is it because everyone is talking about it? Or the most important one, do you really want to solve a problem? If the answer to the last question is yes, then I think you're fit to move up. And then I think it's time to start applying the design thinking. So to understand the objective is very important. So once you have understood the objective, that why do you want to have a startup, please start empathizing with your users. I'm not saying sympathizing. Please start empathizing with your customer, understand, interview him, why, what, how, whom, answer these questions, and then you will come down to a situation wherein you can define your problem, as I showed you in the innovation funnel, that once we ideate, we actually come onto the phase of defining, wherein we have the capability to reframe the problem, to define the problem. You have to fall in love with your problem. You have to reframe it so that you basically start working on it. You have to now start the phase of ideation, wherein you can generate alternatives, wherein you can generate alternate ideas to test that problem. Once you do all these steps, I think you are ready to hit the market. You have to have the full confidence on your product, and then you can hit the market with a foolproof plan. But always remember that you have to be ready with one or two backup plans to fall back in case things don't work out well. But if you are having more than two backup plans, that means there are a lot of alternatives concluding in a huge leak in the initial plan. That means there was some lack of clarity initially. That is why you worked out on so many alternative backup plans. So I think one to two backup plans is more than enough, not more than that. So that's all from my side. I'll be happy to answer any of the questions if any of the persons from audiences have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was a wonderful presentation and a lot of exhaustive information on design thinking. I'll take up a few questions from Zoom as well as from the Facebook Live. We have one question from Dr. Praful Bharadya, who is from LMCP, LM College of Pharmacy, that since the pharma industry is highly regulated, how can one apply design thinking over there? So what he's asking is that a tablet is a tablet and they have to follow certain strict regulations. How do they apply design thinking in that case?
Thank you for this wonderful question. I think it would cover many other different questions as well. So, as I mentioned, that the best part about design thinking is that you can apply it to any of the domains. And again, it's not a process. The best part about design thinking is that it's not a process. You don't have to follow certain steps to do something. It's just a culture. So definitely you want to have some clarity with your team first. If you are working in a medical sector, for example, then you have to have the understanding of the patients because they are your customers. For example, during this COVID situation, what we see in most of the hospitals is that they are struggling with the situation. Why? Because the customers are not being given priority to. The problem in this case was that the situation arose so suddenly that we were all not ready for it to tackle. But if you are working on a certain problem in a certain domain, the only starting point is cater to the needs of your customer. First of all, just sit back and imagine and think who your customer is. So be it any domain, you would be able to design a product for him. For example, I was working on this project with an eye specialist. So he was a glaucoma expert. So glaucoma is an eye disease in which the blood pressure of the eye increases. So they wanted a product basically for treating patients with glaucoma. So you just cannot start the the development of a product right away, because I belong to computer science domain, and especially computer scientists, they usually try to simply jump into the nuisance of the development of the product, but we cannot do that. Understanding the aspects of design thinking, I had to question him that please help me to meet your customers first. Help me to meet your glaucomatic patients first. I need to understand what do they feel. I need to understand what symptoms were they having. Then only I can start developing the product. So even if you are from pharma background, I think you need to first identify your customers, and then you need to think that what kind of a product do they really need. And then you can start working with your team. I hope it answers the question.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We have some similar questions in the drug delivery, and there's some people asking about the construction business and recruitment and HR. But I believe this answer has covered everything.
Definitely.
Yes, ma'am. There is one more question. I'll take one from Facebook Live. The question is that design is something that is perceived as something that increases the aesthetic value of the product only. So how is design implemented as a strategy? How is it different from design that only increases the aesthetic value of the product?
Okay. So another important aspect that has to be, that should have been covered through a question. Thank you for asking this question. So as I mentioned, that one has to differentiate these two terms very clearly. Something is known as design, and then there is this term design thinking. There is no intersection between them. Because usually when you say, oh, this design is not looking nice to me, one usually means to say that maybe the background color used is not that good. Maybe, the buttons are not looking nice. Maybe the buttons are looking too broad. They're too big. If I'm talking about a software product, for example, if I'm using some app, people usually judge it through user experience. So now there are two terms. One is design. Design has to do everything with aesthetics. How the color is looking, how is it appearing to me. So that is design. But when I say design thinking, it's more of experience. We need to realize that we have to delight our customers. That is why we are using this concept of design thinking. But yes, product has to have a great design. That's a fact. You cannot ignore the aesthetics. But that comes at a very later stage when you actually start designing the product. So once you understand your customer, that is basically the phase of design thinking. And then when you start developing the product, you need to take care of the design part, the aesthetics part, how it will actually appear to the user. So that is how we differentiate these two terms. That is why once again I'm repeating that design thinking and design, there is no intersection between them. Design comes at a very later stage, but design thinking is basically how you are designing the thinking process of your own by understanding the customer. So I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, ma'am. We have several questions where they're asking about what are certain resources, books, or for design thinking.
Okay, yeah, that's a very relevant question. So once again, I would repeat that design thinking has to be practiced. Design thinking has to be practiced. It cannot be learned. It cannot be mugged up. So you can basically go through. There are few websites by IDEA. If you search what is design thinking, you will see the very first link that comes onto the Google is by IDEA, because that was the organization who actually came up with the concept of design thinking first. So you can just have the basic understanding of design thinking, and what I would recommend is start practicing it. As much as you would practice design thinking, you would get to know the more aspects of it. And if you'll ask me how to start practicing design thinking, the first step is sit back, think, okay, I want to do this. Then who would be my customer? Who would be my user? Who would be my audience? So, for example, you want to launch an online teaching website today, because during this pandemic situation, everything is going digital. And supposedly, we want this online education thing to become all digital. And I want to launch a website of online education. So, I need to cater to the need of the students to whom I am going to deliver my content. If I am going to teach students of class 9 or students of class 10, I need to talk to them. I need to understand what their problem is. And then only I start building that product. So talk to your customer and work accordingly. This is design thinking. That's it. So I would recommend just have a fair basic knowledge from any of the resources on internet. I would not recommend to, go about a very long duration courses or training, because theoretical knowledge will not make any sense. So I have also learned design thinking through practicing only. That's the only key of learning design thinking.
There is one question where they're asking that, as you said, that one should be customer centric or user centric. So they are into manufacturing machines, which was not perceived that well, and they changed a part of the machine and reintroduced it. So is it considered design as a part of design thinking?
Yes, definitely. But the only thing was that, they failed at a later stage. When the entire machine was developed and it was in a working state, and they realized that it is not, bringing them good results, then they had to go back. So if you start applying design thinking from the very first stage, and you start understanding that, okay, yeah, this is something that my customer wants, you will fail very fast and it would not cost you that much. So definitely it can be considered as one of the aspects of design thinking, because it is catering to the needs of the customer, but it would have been done at the earlier stage. It would have yielded more better results and cost would have been less. But yeah, can be considered to be aspects of design thinking, because you are taking customer into the account.
Absolutely, ma'am. So, ma'am, we have several questions pending, but since we are short of time, we'll send you all the questions. We'll curate the questions and send it across. But one last question that I would like to take up is that we have a student who is just on the POC level. So the question is that how important is design thinking for early stage startups or innovators? What are your suggestions or key takeaways that you would discuss?
Yeah, so as I mentioned that, design thinking can be really beneficial for the early stage startups, because as I gave few handy tips, you have to realize that, if you are developing certain products, please take this in your mind, keep this in your mind, that you have to translate your content into more local languages. This is one of the very important concepts that we tend to forget at times, and do lots and lots of A/B testing. That is basically user testing again. So if you are focusing on these two aspects, I think you are good to go. And again, please do not build your products first. First, do the market research. See how many different types of products are already existing in the market. How are they doing? And do people really need your product now at this moment? If already Uber is running in the market, Ola is already there in the market, do people need your cab service? So this is one of the examples. So just answer these questions to yourself, do the apt market research, and then start building your product. Do not build the product first. This is one of the major takeaways one should have.
Ma'am, since you are a faculty with the North Cap University, a few of our faculties are asking as to how they can inculcate this design thinking into their students or make it a part of the curriculum.
Yeah, even I have done this thing because we brought a cultural change in North Cap University, and we embedded design thinking in almost every curriculum of the subject. So though it's a time-taking process, because again you have to understand the mentality of the student, you have to understand the mental model of the student, and it was a lengthy process. I mean, it all together becomes a different session, of 2-3 hours one can take up. So definitely, but in short, I would suggest is that again, your customer at that point of time is your student. So you need to understand what your student wants as a content. So we basically modified our curriculum and especially the content development as per students' needs. And our every other subject is having design thinking embedded in it. So that's all I can say about it. I mean, it's a lengthy process, but yeah, the customer there is again your student. You have to understand the mental model of the student.